This poem is called Strange Fruit. I dreamt that I let him into my garden to show him its beauty, and when I turned my head, he stole all of its fruit. He left me with all of this empty space and holes unfilled. He didn't know how dear to me that fruit was. He just knew that he was hungry and he needed it to satisfy him. So he took what he needed and then he left. And once he was hungry again, he returned to my garden, scrounging up what was left. And when he returned, I did not hesitate to give him what I had because I thought, well, maybe he needed it more than I. I felt special that my garden had what he needed, and I knew that my fruit he would always want again because of how beautiful and fulfilling it was. I could always harvest more fruit, right? Yeah, and besides, he didn't take everything. I had a secret stash hidden just in case, and it would last me until the season's end. The next time he returned to my garden, it had grown new fruits, but not as beautiful as before. With his appetite still insatiable, he took what he could find and he left once more. And when he left, there were traces of things that he had brought with him, but somehow he had left behind. Those things began to sink into my soil. So when my fruit began to grow again, the things that he had left behind had immersed itself into my soil and began to produce some strange new fruits. So no longer were my fruits full or firm, they had many bruises. Morphing into unfamiliar shapes that I could no longer recognize, my fruit was now bitter to the taste. My fruit was so unfamiliar that it had caused me to take a step back and make sure that I was in the right place. Day had turned into night and my fruit was no longer getting the light that it needed to grow. Now this time when he came back to my garden, I didn't have the strength to tell him no. Now that knowing that all that I had left was my secret stash, I gave him what he came for, and of course he took my stash and he dashed. And this time when he left, I realized I had nothing but dark space and no trace of the beautiful garden that once existed. So the next time he came back, I felt bad that I had nothing to give him. I didn't have the guts to tell him that all the fruits were gone. So I let him in, thinking that he would not notice. And when he did notice that he could not get the fruit that he was so used to, he told me that this would be his last time coming because my garden was no longer useful.